It's so much work. If I could get an app to shave my face, I would be so good. All right, we're
App of the
live.
year.
It's Tuesday night, time for Attack of the Androids, of course. Every Tuesday, you guys can watch live on the site, attackoftheandroids.com/live. We'll also take you there. So, remember to hit record, dummy.
For centuries, we've been warned about little green men.
Now, they are coming. They're coming for you. Run. But first,
Shut your windows.
hide your apples. Prepare for the attack of the android. And now, your host and the human leader of the Android Underground, Matt Lee.
What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, May 13th, 2014. This is episode number 124 of Attack of the Androids. Every week, usually Tuesday evenings, right here, attackoftheandroids.com. Check it out. Matt Lee, this guy right here. It's Nick Carroll. What's up, Nick?
Hey, glad to be back.
Good to have you. Ant Pruitt from Yats and the smartphone-photographers.com website joining us. What's up, Ant?
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Lee? Mr. Nick?
Good to have you.
Appreciate it.
He's not with us because of some time zone differences. He's like on the other side of the world once again, so he should be with us next week. So until then, he had something he wanted to talk about like a Windows phone. I told him that's not even this show, but anyway, we'll talk about it next week, I'm sure.
Maybe he can start a Windows Phone podcast.
Right? Attack of the crappy phones with no apps and
Attack of Clippy. Yeah.
Attack of the Clippy. That's awesome. Let's start things out top of the show. Some rumors. I guess not really rumors, more of like find some snippets of code in the Chromium code reviews. People always, crawl through the code and they find something like this. Says constant care K device mode equals Nexus 8. So possibly, of course, we're getting towards I/O, right? Google I/O coming up soon. So there was the Nexus 8, and then what was the other snippet in there? Something about a Nexus 6, which I was kind of wondering. I mentioned this a long time ago, I think, but like because they already had the Nexus 7 and the Nexus 10, and if they kept numbering their phones. Like, I was curious what they would do if they would just skip 7 and go to 8 and 9 and then skip 10 and go, like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But, yeah.
I was actually concerned about or interested in this because I've long heard there likely wouldn't be a Nexus 6 because the name, there was like Philip K. Dick, like a book he wrote a million years ago with that name. There's some copyright issues. Maybe there wouldn't be a phone, so that'd be interesting. Yeah, that's what I heard. So it will be interesting to see if there is actually a Nexus 6 phone that's produced. So, but Nexus 8, that definitely I think should happen or could happen. But I do wonder what will happen to a Nexus 10 refresh. So.
Yeah, I know my Nexus 10 is definitely getting a little slow in its old age. I mean, we talked about that a little bit last week. It's just how it goes, right?
It's about time, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've had this thing and I don't want to get another tablet because I like this one. I want, like, a better Nexus 10, I don't want a Samsung tab or something like that. I think Ant's still on, like, you got a new Nexus 7, right? You're on the second-gen version, or are you still...
Oh, actually, I'm still on the original Nexus 7.
Are you? Have you noticed... See, we talked about this last week, and we were trying to figure out if it was because you're not flashing your device, it gets full of, like, cache and memory just, like, locked in there, so over time it becomes slow, or is it the cost of the device using cheap flash memory that starts to wear out after, 5,000 writes or whatever?
I thought it was more so of B because you have the same issues with SSDs.
for a while, but they've gotten past that, and that's why I'm wondering if they're still using like those cheap components in these tablets to try and keep the price down, knowing that you're going to get a new one in 2 years anyway, right?
Yeah,
That's
playing
why
obsolescence in another way.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But that's why I was wondering about your 7. Is that still like as fast as it was, or is it really slow now?
I like to think that it's still fast. The only time it's not fast is when I first boot up. If I haven't turned it on in about 3 days or more, and it goes through all of the updates from Google Play, and it's churning and churning and churning. You know,
yeah, I get that too.
You know, so that aggravates me from time to time. But I've now sort of learned to, okay, if I haven't turned this thing on in a couple of days, just boot it up and then walk away for a good 10, 15 minutes, you know, because you can only download so much at a time from the store.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. But for me, like once that like 10-minute or so process of downloading everything, because like it'll, like if I have it off for a week, there'll be like, you know, 10 different items all downloading at the same time.
At the same time.
Flows, yeah. So, but I would say it still runs pretty snappy. So, you know.
Are you on the KitKat?
Yeah.
The latest KitKat. It took a while for me to get mine because I had flashed it with the Ubuntu phone OS on it, and then flashed it back to whatever I had running at the particular time, and it wouldn't get the update. So I had to kick it all the way back to like Jelly Bean 4.1 or something for it to get the KitKat over the air, because it wouldn't flash it manually either through my Linux terminal.
Yeah, well, it may also be that KitKat itself is to some extent combating, you know, the obsolescence of the device, because KitKat has lower memory requirements and may have less things going on. So, you know, that's why you can run it on some of these newer phones with less memory. So maybe that's also combating, you know, the age of the device. So.
And two, when you keep your device off for a week like that, it's not just downloading updates. Like, it's trying to sync everything as well. Yeah. Like all your Facebook, Google Plus, Twitter, like anything that is set to auto sync, it's all connecting at once on top of the update. Like, yeah, it's you gotta like boot it up and then go take a shower or something and come back to it.
That's true. I don't want to derail you too much, but you mentioned syncing across devices. Yeah. Are you guys experiencing a perfect harmony, perfect harmony of your devices syncing? You know, say you're on Gmail, message comes through to your phone, you open it up, what have you, say, okay, I've read this, swipe it away, delete. You go and pick it up on your tablet, if you still have the same account there, I'm assuming you do, and that message is still sitting there. And not to mention Google Plus notifications. Especially with Chrome, when I go to the app on the phone, mark it red and so forth, I expect to be able to go to Chrome on the computer and see that those notifications are cleared off, and it's just not doing it. It hasn't ever done that for me.
You're talking about the new built-in notifications for Chrome for Google Plus. So now we have a little icon in our notification bar on Windows that's like a little bell, and that's where your Chrome. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, not that one. That's a service. I'm talking about
in plus.google.com, the little one on the. Okay, I gotcha.
Correct. And for me, the only thing that I've noticed is differences between email. Like I'll read an email on desktop, and it'll take a few minutes for it to register on the phone. To me, that's the only thing I've noticed. I noticed that like hangout requests, like when Matt sends a hangout, if my phone is right next to me at the desktop, I'll literally hear the request here at the same time I'm hearing it on the phone. So hangouts, at least for me, has been pretty much in sync. For email, there's maybe a minute or two delay.
Definitely agree with you on Hangout.
It's gotten a lot better than it has. The same with me on Gmail. Like sometimes I'll sit here and look at it after I've gotten rid of it on my phone, and it's still sitting in the notification thing on my tablet, and it does take like a minute or two to disappear. As far as like having messages, still every once in a while, like maybe once or twice a month, it'll say one unread in one of my tabs, whether social or updates. And you'll go in there, and there won't be anything in there on the phone or the tablet, and you'll refresh, and it'll still say one, but it won't show you anything. And then when you get home and log in on Gmail on your computer, there'll be a message there, and it'll be that one unread, even though it doesn't show up on your phone. So I think that's just like a glitchy sync problem.
Yeah, that's the one thing Microsoft Exchange does better than Google.
Really?
Yeah. I can watch it on my phone, as well as in my Outlook client, and it's damn near instant.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. We use Exchange at work as well as on the phone, and that's pretty damn in sync. So yeah.
And I mean, other apps like Twitter and Facebook definitely not as good. Depending on what app you're using, I'm using Tweetcaster, and I always obviously it's not a computer app, but I always have to go to all of my Android devices and clear away the notifications because it doesn't know. It's not using, I guess, whatever API they opened up for that in Android. Same thing with I don't know. Yeah, no, Facebook doesn't do it yet either.
But see, I sort of expected with those, Matt, because those are not Google properties.
But it doesn't matter. You should have access to all the same APIs if you're developing an app for Android, because it's an Android thing that's doing it, right?
True.
They're just late to the game, I think, trying to get their apps up to par with all of the new refreshes, each major update, and all that.
True. I give you that.
Let's see. We talked a little bit about the OnePlus One, the Smash the Past contest, and then how they kind of went back on that a little bit. But they were starting to send out some phones. Apparently, some people are getting their phones without SIM tools or chargers. So, I mean, I guess it's 2014. Can I assume you have a charger and a micro USB cord? Can I assume that, or
hey, no, that's fine, but that's some bullshit.
It is, right?
That's some bull.
I need another one because now I'm short one here. Thanks. Yeah, Nick?
Yeah, I was going to say, you pretty much should have an old charger, particularly if you just smashed your old phone. At least that one should work. But yeah, it'd be nice that if OnePlus could, send you one of their own. So
a USB cord and a charger. And I mean, I guess I get the SIM ejection tool. I mean, it's literally just a pin, right? I mean, I don't know if you can see this on the side of the Moto X. There's like a little tiny pinhole, and I mean, it came with a tool. Thanks, Motorola. But you can really put anything in there that'll fit, and it'll pop the tray out, and then you can put your SIM in. So
I think that's another black eye, considering all this extra money they have backing them. They're too damn cheap to send a $1 charging cable.
Yeah, in the media, I would say yeah. I think what really happened is not that they didn't, it's that, oops, we kind of forgot, we rushed. They say here that those boxes were not ready when we had to ship the devices. And, of course, as we didn't want to make you wait, we apologize for any inconvenience it caused.
That's just so wrong, dude.
Well, I do think since they're a relatively new company and this is like their first attempt at doing anything, they're trying to do what they can. But
and it was a contest, right? This wasn't the devices. Like, you didn't go to the store and buy one and be like, oh shit, where's my cord? It was the contest, and maybe you felt dumb because you smashed your phone, so you were mad, or I don't know what.
Dude, that's still some bullshit. There's QA. There's QA. I'm not buying that.
I knew we forgot something.
Again, you got all of this extra funding and stuff from AotA or whatever they call themselves, so they have some QA department.
Yeah.
They got a stake in you.
Oppo's actually building the phones. Yeah, Oppo's actually building the phones too. So, yeah.
Yeah, the article on Fandroid, it says, it's annoying that these folks have to deal with this, but it shouldn't be long until it's all cleared up. OnePlus says the materials should be ready for shipping by the end of the month, so you can either put together your own home remedy for getting up and running with the device, or wait until your cord comes in the mail.
Wow.
And really, that's why they're doing the invitation system, because they don't have millions of phones to send out. So
it's a good thing they did this, because if they wouldn't have known that, hey, we need to put some cords in some of these and some bobby pins,
I think I'm gonna go give them my resume. I can fix this.
Right. I'm quality assurance. I'll feel free.
Ant knows how to put a checklist together. We'll get this
Right?
back.
Ant could write an app to put a checklist together. I mean, come on.
Jeez,
That's
man.
right.
Let's see. Oh, this was kind of cool. Motorola unveiling the Moto E, an entry-level type smartphone for everybody. 4.3-inch display, dual-core, 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon, only 1 gig of RAM, but it's pretty cheap. 4 gigs storage, not great, but it has a micro SD slot, so that's not great, but better, I suppose. 5-megapixel camera in the rear and a 1980 milliamp battery. So.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is it's like $130 US.
Exactly.
So it's like,
it's the new burner smartphone, right?
Yeah.
You can just buy a bunch of these and just like swap SIMs and
yeah. And if you think about it, it's the same price as the Nokia X, but it's going to have Android's real Android with real Google apps, straight out the door. So it's going to be a Google device.
The one thing I'm not down with is that they say it's not powerful enough to run some of the exclusive software features that the Moto X have. Like, its two most important things, basically, active notifications and touchless control. Like, two things that made this phone really great. The two you can't live without things, and it's not getting it. But, of course, again, go back to the price. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't have the special chips that the Moto X does that can do the touchless controls and all that stuff. But it's still, I mean, for its price, it's even cheaper than the Moto G. And the Moto G was actually, as of now, the Moto G is Motorola's best-selling smartphone ever, at least according to the article on The Verge that we have linked in our rundown. So that's pretty cool. So this Motorola E, which is going to go to other places like India and the UK and other places, worldwide, it should. It should sell pretty well,
And speaking of going into these third world country type war zone areas, they're coming out with this app, and I think it's in the market now. I haven't messed with it. I don't know if it'll install on my phone or not, but it's called Motorola Alert. It's a safety-focused software feature that helps you stay in touch. They say location alerts will send a message whenever you exit or leave a designated spot, while emergency mode allows the user to quickly message or call a contact when they're in trouble. So that's an interesting move, I guess. I mean, you can program a message and then just I guess hit a button, and if you're in trouble, it'll send the message to the cops or whoever.
I know some people have been using what's that called? If this, then that, to do something similar. But I mean, you have to know what you're doing to kind of put that together. So it's kind of cool that they're building this kind of functionality into just an app that you just have on your phone and it's already there. So that's
right,
cool.
Right. And I mean, it could be something good that when natural disasters or something happen here, you can enable the app, log into it, and say, I'm lost and need found, or I found somebody that needs to be picked, anything like that, and it can do all its location stuff and make that a little easier to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's cool how Motorola is kind of thinking outside of the box and putting all this stuff even in their low-end phones. That's not bad at all. So.
Yeah, that is cool. So I like it. If my phone hears me scream at 105 decibels, then send a text message to the militia. Help bring guns.
That's right. Lots of them. I know you got them. Yeah.
Help bring lots of guns. Awesome. Let's see. I guess speaking of Moto on Verizon, a Droid Life article says they're getting ready to launch their XLTE. In AWS markets on May 19th. So XLTE, we have LTE, we have 3G, we have 4G LTE. Now we'll have XLTE, and really it's not anything that's gonna change on your phone. And they say that all of the phones, hopefully all of the phones that were purchased in the last year will support this. I'm sure they'll have to push some sort of radio update or something like that to enable it, but I'm not sure.
I guess it's really just faster LTE, and it'll use
more
AWS bands. Yeah.
Basically. So when they say cities across the country will have 2 times the 4G LTE bandwidth, They say the network will be capable of faster peak speeds, whatever that means. No changes in device settings are needed, nor will there be a new XLTE indicator. Devices will continue to say 4G LTE, and you also shouldn't need to upgrade your plan. It'll work with your current setup. Not all devices are compatible, of course, they say, but most of the new devices from within the last year should work. So, and what were the two phones that were coming out? The S5 and the HTC One Mate are supposed to be the first two new phones that will take advantage of this. And then an over-the-air update will enable it on everybody else's when you get it in your areas.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you need more? I mean, obviously we all need more bandwidth, but is this like a good use of their money? It needs to happen, right? For sure.
It's just future-proofing.
Right.
Yeah.
Even in a little place like here where I live, like we got LTE a couple years ago, I think, and then you can definitely feel the lag in certain areas over others at certain times over others. So yeah, it's definitely good future-proofing.
Well, I guess it really shows that Verizon is actually upgrading their network. You know, a lot of the stuff they do is transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may not notice, but you know, it's good that they're telling everyone about it. So yeah.
We are working on it.
And cue the new rates on my plan.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, guys, a little extra money we need. Yeah.
You didn't think we were going to pay to upgrade our equipment, did you? I mean, come on.
Let's call that taxes and other fees. Ain't that
other
what
miscellany. That's terrible. But they can do it, because what else are you going to use? AT&T?
Unfortunately.
I guess. I don't know. The more I use AT&T on my tablet at work, like it's all right. I'm not making phone calls on it, so I don't know.
That's why you're winning. You're not making phone calls.
As long as you're just using it for data, you can have mad collisions. It doesn't matter. It'll just.
That's what all of the iPhone folks used to say. My iPhone is great as long as I don't have to make a call on it. You know,
right?
AT&T people.
Yeah. I hear that. I definitely hear that. Last week we talked about Half-Life 2 coming out on the NVIDIA Shield. I'm still pretty excited for this. They're launching it soon here, I think, for the Shield.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 and Portal. So that's kind of surprising. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, when those games came out, they were actually kind of stressful on new systems of the time. So it's kind of cool seeing that. Oh, you can just run it on a Shield, a little portable $200 device. So yeah, that's cool.
They say, using the utmost care, we paid attention to every detail to ensure gamers get the full PC versions natively on Android. The graphic performance is sharp, and the controls are precise and natural. This is cool. Like, I'm kind of doubly happy about this, for one, because Half-Life 2 was the last, I guess, major video game I played on my computer. Like, I actually went out and bought and jammed it on my computer, had to upgrade a video card, and then jammed it on the computer without lag. Portal I never got into, but my brother and everybody's like, you gotta play this. It's so good. I'm like, I'm not even gonna play it on my computer. So I'll have a chance to play that and then to re-enjoy Half-Life 2, which was one of my favorites. So
yeah, I'm counting down the days until we see Quake 3 Arena and Unreal Tournament on these little devices. That'll be crazy.
Real. Oh, dude. If you bring that to Android, you guys will never see me again. Unreal 04, that was my jam. Man, we used to have LAN parties. We used to pack all the bedrooms with computers and cables, and just for days we would just sit there play games, mostly Unreal. Yeah.
I have Portal installed and I've yet to fire it up.
Yeah.
I've had it for I don't know how many years now.
Yeah.
The first one or the new one?
The first one.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never even played it. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know.
I'm not personally into first-person puzzle shooters or whatever that thing is. But anyways, some people like it. So, but not me.
It looks great. That's the only reason why I bought it. It looks great, but I just never got around to it.
We'll have to jam it out when it comes out for regular Android and not just the Shield. And if I have to wait too long, I don't know, man. I might have to get a new Shield just to play.
Like $200, and I know NVIDIA's holding an event in the next month or two, and they might be announcing more, either a new version of Shield or something else. So.
Yeah. Yeah. They say the releases are part of NVIDIA's efforts to ensure there's a wide catalog of games available for its handheld. First one on sale July last year. They said they had now more than 300 available for the $200 device, except if you live in the UK.
You know, the interesting thing about the Shield is it compares favorably to something like the PS Vita, which is, you know, the same size screen but a smaller resolution. And this, I think, has like more RAM, more storage, and of course it runs Android, so you can run a lot of other games, not just, you know, what comes out of like the Sony store. So the Shield is right now, especially for its price, a bit of an underrated device. So it's got a lot of potential.
I like this too. It says in the Play Store as of, you know, whenever the article was written, Half-Life 2 has an average score of 4.9 out of 5, and Portal has a perfect 5.
Wow.
That's pretty good. It's hard to please the internet, you know. Like, you know, when you got a 5, you did well. You did it. You did it right. Let's see. Did you guys see this? Another, and we keep seeing these like malware authors target Android phones. Malware is only written for Android because Android is everywhere. This and that, and I don't know. I thought this one was kind of interesting because it's like, how do you get this sort of stuff on your phone, right? Like you had to actually download an app and then like run that stuff and then
Yeah, almost all these exploits are something you do, you know, by bypassing the security measures. So yeah.
Takes an effort to get infected on these things.
Almost, right? I didn't want to say that, but it almost, like, you got to try and get your, yeah.
I mean, it comes down to the person. I look at my kids, because kids can be very, very careless when it comes to that stuff. All they see is shiny game app or what have you, install, next, and they're just ready to play.
Click fatigue.
But you have to coach them to say, hey, number one, let me know before you even think about installing, you know, and then if it asks you something, stop and come to me. You know, let me see what this thing is asking you to click on. And most consumers, you know, they're not governed like that. So they're just thinking, oh, I can't get past this stupid pop-up. Next.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's always something stupid. Like their example here from, I think we talked about it last week, that there was a kind of a version of CryptoLocker out for Android, and no one was sure if it was actually encrypting or just faking it, you know, and being like, we see all this crap on your phone. But like it says, a malware tricks visitors of a porn site into thinking they're downloading a video player. If you knew anything about like watching porn on the internet on your phone, you would know that you don't need to download a video player because it's embedded in the page. Like, come on.
Of course.
You know, like dumb stuff like that. Here, watch these Hollywood movies that are still in theaters. Just download and then you download it and click, and that's it.
Degenerates.
So stop blaming Android for that stupid net and everyone else that keeps doing that. It's like annoying. You keep seeing it over and over and over. So I also like this. I thought this was kind of like our headline of the week from Business Insider. It says, here's a chart that really does show Android is for poor people. I mean, like, just right out there. There you go.
I mean, really,
it's not going to worry about being politically correct, right?
Yeah, this is Business Insider. Who cares?
Well, I mean, really, it's for everyone, not just, you know, not everyone can afford a $700 smartphone, you know. It's just, or, you know, pay $200, $250, $300, you know, at Verizon, you know, just to get a phone, you know, so.
I'd be curious to see, like, what would happen if Apple ever did come out. I mean, they did come out with a low-end iPhone, kind of, but I mean, like, something to match the Moto G or cheaper even, you know, and then I would like to see what the headlines say. Apple is pandering to poor people. Snubs Android, or, you know, something stupid like that. But they say this chart here, it's a stark illustration of exactly where the battle lines here are drawn. over iOS and Android. They say that the war will also affect mobile device sales. Right now, Apple is winning this war because its mobile operating system is both popular with user and app developers. All the good apps appear on iPhones and iPads first. Is that still true? Are we still? I mean.
Yeah, I think we've reached a parity in large part on Android. We get a lot of the devices, a lot of the software on these devices, pretty quickly, pretty close to when iOS gets them. Sometimes we get them first, but I mean, still a pretty big market.
And here's the chart here you can see if you're watching live or the video. It says the charts from Benedict Evans, an analyst at Andreessen Horowitz, a somewhat tongue-in-cheek look at how iOS and Android divide the world they live in. It's based on Facebook login data, but Facebook is right. Okay, that's legit. But Facebook is used so ubiquitously on mobile phones that it's a good proxy for actual users. They say, as you can see, in places like Greenwich, Connecticut, where hedge fund managers and investment bankers tend to live, Apple dominates. But India, well, that's Android territory, where you would need the Motorola emergency help app, right?
Well, even in this chart, you look at the U.S., it's a little bit more than 50%, is iOS, and a little more than 40% is Android. So there's a fairly even split across the U.S. So I would say that's more representative of it worldwide. It's probably about half and half.
Right, and the article finishes off. It says, Evans describes this chart as unfair. You can't really compare Greenwich to India, but the larger point it makes is completely fair. In a world where devices in the OS just get cheaper and better, can Apple always be sure that selling the most expensive devices possible is a winning formula for the long run? Yeah, that was stupid. I'm sorry. I don't know why.
It almost looks racist too, though.
Oh.
Well, here in Silicon Valley, in the white-collar corner of the world.
Right, and here we have Harlem. Like, okay, that's fine.
I don't get, man, look at that. I love the idiocy.
Yeah. We enjoy it. I thought this was kind of interesting. Article on Android Authority. Are you familiar with Project Cider? CIDER.
I hadn't heard about it until I saw this article, but it's interesting that using this OS, I forget what it's called, but this program, essentially, you can run these iOS apps on your Android device. So that's actually kind of cool. It's not like emulation per se, but it's something built in at the OS level. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I guess for like when you're waiting for the Android version, you could fire this up, and like you mentioned, I mean, emulation is just terrible. I mean, BlueStacks does it fairly decently, but there's nothing like just being on the device that it was made for, and it works a lot better. This was developed by computer science students from Columbia University. They say it effectively tricks iOS apps into running on Android's Linux kernel just as they would on Apple's XNU kernel. So they say, they say Cider enhances the domestic operating system of a device with kernel-managed per-thread personas to mimic the application binary interface of a foreign operating system, enabling it to run unmodified foreign binaries.
Yeah, so it's called an operating system compatibility layer. So that's interesting. I was not aware such a thing existed. But,
is that like Windows compatibility mode where it's running it, or is that different? I don't understand that.
That's interesting. I wonder how that would compare to something like what BlackBerry does when it runs Android apps. This is something I'm not totally familiar with, but it sounds like something similar.
That actually does make sense, similar to the BlackBerry.
It's like an Android layer that allows you to run it's like Gingerbread, or now I think it's at Jelly Bean, but yeah, BlackBerry does something similar with this where you can run your Android apps. Like when you're running the Android apps, you get at the bottom, you get the actual buttons like the home and back and menu button. So that's interesting. So
And it says to achieve this, researchers use several binary compatibility techniques, including compile timecode adaptation, which allows unmodified iOS code to run on the host Android, and diplomatic functions, which enable iOS apps to tap into domestic libraries to interact with the Android's device hardware and software. That is pretty cool. So it like taps into the driver system basically, and it's like, I'm just going to use this real quick, thanks.
That's still pretty damn sophisticated.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
I know it's...
As a work in progress, Cider suffers from some limitations. Apps that rely on features like the phone's camera, GPS module, or Bluetooth either don't work or have limited functionality. They say further work is required to enable these features.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is since it's a research project, it's probably not going to come out. It's not going to be like an app you can download on the Play Store.
Right, yeah. It was just like interesting research. And they say that there's still significant lag when running iOS apps. So, yeah, it's way like we wrote this research paper because we figured that, and that's cool. So I just wanted to mention, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll link to it in the show notes. You can check out the video. They show it kind of doing its thing. Let's see.
It's slightly laggy, but you sort of expect that. This video's pretty good.
Slightly laggy.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, any emulation is, and I would be curious, like, to have a side by side of like BlueStacks or the BlackBerry one and Cider.
Yeah.
Once they get it more dialed in, like we said, it's just research. So, do you guys use Microsoft Link at all?
All day long.
Do you?
I do not, but I used the previous, like, what the predecessor to this. I used to use Microsoft Office Communicator, or MOC, for the longest time, and it's kind of interesting to see how Link has developed because it's a lot more sophisticated than MOC was. But go for it, Ant. I guess tell us what how you've been using it. I guess.
Yeah, we use it every day. At my office, it's a very, very stable instant messaging client, and offering all of the same bells and whistles of file transfer and video chatting, and even integrates into your phone system. If you have the right type of VoIP, well, I guess you can't call it PBX, VoIP phone system.
Well, that's cool. So it's like Messenger basically, but for enterprise.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now they have it for Android.
Yeah, I've been running it on my phone off and on for a good couple months. They've had it on. They've had version 2010 for a long time. Version 2013 is the newest one out there, and depending on your server setup, your Exchange server setup, you can run it on your mobile phone and not have to be on a corporate network. You can use just regular Wi-Fi or regular data.
Nice.
And still get your instant messages and even see missed phone calls and things like that. Because, like I said, it integrates with your phone too. It'll track all of that stuff. It's pretty neat.
And this is they released a new version of it, which is okay. Because you've been using it for quite a while in the older versions. They say it requires 1.2 gig dual core or higher, and it won't run on Tegra 2 chipsets. Yeah, well,
I did not try it on my tablet.
Is it useful on the phone, like to have on Android if you're in this ecosystem?
I think so. If you're going to be holding your phone in your hand all day long, yes. I've ended up taking it off of my device because my phone, when I'm on the run working on stuff at the office, my phone is in my pocket. And I'm really not stopping to check IMs. I'll stop briefly to check emails and then on to the next mission. But instant messenger is supposed to be instant, Yeah,
it's more real time. So the advantage there is, like, let's say if you're person X at work, at your desk, and you have to reach out to person Y who has their phone and Microsoft Link or whatever, and you have to chat real quick and get an immediate response. That's basically what you would use. So that's pretty cool.
It's nice for that use case. I'm just not fitting that use case on my phone.
Yeah, it's similar to what Hangouts is, but since it is at the enterprise level, it's got to probably have certain levels, certain standards, certain levels of security. So maybe we'll see Google come up with like a enterprise level Hangouts, or maybe they'll rename it or something for the enterprise. So interesting.
Yeah, we have to see, but you have to have all of the certificates and stuff squared away for it to work.
They'll name it work because you don't want to just hang out while you're at work, right? You want to
They'll name
work.
it workout.
Work.
Google workout.
Nice try.
That's awesome. Let's see. Did you guys see Gmail for Android reaching 1 billion downloads? That is a grip of downloads.
That's awesome.
I guess that may be the first app that's reached that mark on the Play Store, I guess. I don't know.
And
Pretty
one of
big.
the oldest, but not necessarily the oldest because it's only been an individual APK since when? Because it wasn't always a separate thing on the Play Store, right? You had to, like, it was bundled, and, like, if you had CyanogenMod, you would have to download, like, the pack that had all those Google apps, but then it got put in the Play Store so you could just grab it from there. But, yeah, still kind of cool. They say next month is the 2-year anniversary of Gmail becoming the most widely used service for email on the planet. On the planet!
Freaking love Gmail.
If you're watching Cosmos, you'll know what the planet is. Earth. While it remains the uncontested champion, the Gmail app for Android struck its own accomplishment last week as it became the first conventional app in the Play Store to reach 1 billion downloads. They say technically the Google Play Services package crossed the same mark back in January, but it's automatically installed on any device equipped with the Play Store and running Android 2.2 or higher. So they say it's more fair to give Gmail, of course, that honor. So, God, that's a lot. That's so many.
What do you guys think about the whole new proposed look of the web Gmail?
Honestly, mine doesn't change because I have the planet's background or whatever, and that kind of changes to the moon and whatever, the sun. So, yeah, mine hasn't changed. I mean, I got the tabs on there. I like that. Got my social, got my updates, got my phone. I got all that. But, yeah, as far as anything else, I haven't seen it. You use it, Nick?
I haven't seen what the new look is going to be, but yeah, I use it. I'm fine with it. So
I did notice yesterday that my Hangouts element right there inside of Gmail, it's got a different look and feel.
That change, yeah, that's a little more cluttered than I like it. I don't like that it shows you the first sentence of everything, because, like, if I want to see that, I'll open it. I'd rather, but it's cool. Whatever.
Yeah. But I know they were trying to get a similar unified look the way the actual mobile apps are, how everything is sort of clean. They had some leaked images out there the other day about it. I don't know if y'all saw it or not.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Do you like it? Is it?
I haven't gotten it yet, but it's gonna be fine. It's just very,
from the leaks, like you saw the leaks.
It's very flat, you know,
Word.
very flat. Yeah, nice and clean, not cluttered up. But I wonder what's gonna happen to my tabs because I like the tabs.
Oh
yeah, I definitely down with that. I don't use like the important thing, but like all the different promotions is the only one I don't use.
I wonder why.
That one disappeared. I know. I don't want it.
I'm not gonna comment.
I don't want your promotions.
I actually use that thing.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good that the tab's there. So.
Do you use it in Pinterest mode?
Not so much.
That's cool.
Every now and then I find some decent stuff in there. Yeah.
It is useful for you then. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Every now and then I find something decent to throw money away at.
That's cool. Gmail's like, I noticed your bank statement recently showed you in positive. May I recommend some devices? Let's see. Android 4.4.3 continuing to show up here and there, indicating that the new version of KitKat should be released soon. How soon? I/O soon or before that?
Maybe before. Google doesn't seem to care when it sends out updates. I mean, it's like, okay, today's a good day.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. And these are coming from like change logs, stuff like that. So who knows? But I'm sure. I mean, every time, like you can kind of safe bet to say that. Oh, I bet there's gonna be an update soon. It's almost I/O, right? You have to have an updated I/O.
We'll see. I mean, I think I just sort of was meh on. I don't know if it was the last I/O or the one before that, because we went from ICS to Jelly Bean, and that was like straight up wow.
Yeah, that was cool. But where are we? Like, we're good now, right? We're kind of, we're good.
They've been just refining it, but there's less and less that looks noticeable with each update. So yeah.
And of course, Android Wear. I kind of think I/O is going to be focus on Wear quite a bit.
Yep.
And the television maybe, because it's been a couple I/O since we really saw anything that great TV-wise. So yeah, should be interesting either way. When is that? It's like coming up.
June 25th.
Right. You're going to be there, aren't you? Or down in the area?
I will be on the lawn if I have to.
Yeah. We'll have to do a show. Are you there on a Tuesday?
Our special correspondent.
On the lawn, trying to get in.
Yeah, I get there that Tuesday night, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
So, for Yats, then, possibly.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. And let's see, we'll wrap things up before we do app picks with this. Just a quick article about Google Glass moving to open beta, but still $1,500. $1,500? Still the Explorer. So just now an open beta rather than a closed beta. I don't know what they're just trying to get their name out in the news again. So how about you wake me up when there's a public release that's under $300?
Yeah.
Let me know that.
Yeah, not counting R&D. You know, this I think we talked about a little bit on the last show, but I mean the components all cost under $100 for Google Glass, like for everything. So a little bit less than $1,500 would be desirable. I'm not going to
like $1,000 less, like $300 less.
Yeah, yeah, $300 to $400. Yeah, I'd wear that. So
I would appreciate that, Google.
I will say this, you know, if they dropped it down, let's say theoretically in this bizarre world where they maybe sold it for like $100, if it was a $100 item, there'd be no excuse not to pick one up. Just like the Chromecast was sort of a $35, I can afford to grab one. Same thing for like Google Glass. If they put it down that cheap, that would turn it into a worldwide device. Like pretty much anyone, well, most people could get it. So
I would definitely buy one for $35.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
You know, I think they really, really need to do a chop on it, because right now people are looking at it as it's that creepy thing from Google. You know what I mean? That creepy thing from Google, and what, they want $1,500 for this thing? You know, and then you get the people that are somewhat tech savvy, or even those that review it. They talk about, okay, this thing is just not polished, it's nowhere near finished, and I still paid $1,500, and that's continuing to spread. You know, it's not a lot of positive connotation going on about Google Glass at this particular moment.
And like we said, the only reason it would make sense to spend that is if you're planning on developing an app that's going to give you some sort of return. Otherwise, like, why are you wasting your money?
Yeah. And even with the app, let's just think, you know, bigger picture on that. Say you're developing an app for that. What are your limitations on it with a tiny screen on your eyeball that links up to your phone that is just going to be earth-shaking or what have you? You know, you can get notifications and so forth on it. Yeah, whoop-de-damn-do. But what else can you get out of it?
Well, the big question is how many people actually buy Google Glass once it comes out for whatever price it comes out as. That's the thing. If you're a developer, you're trying to invest into something you don't know what the outcome will be. So that's a big issue with Google Glass right now. So until we really see it out there for the masses, we're not going to understand its impact. Like when before the iPhone came out, or even the iPod came out, no one really knew what the impact was going to be for those devices, and they could have flopped, but they didn't. But you didn't know that in the beginning before there were apps to be made for it and before it was out in the public. So sooner or later, Google's going to have to release Glass to everyone so that more developers can actually join in and develop something for it. That's how I look at it, at least. So.
Yeah.
Points.
Nick, you threw in the doc the Chromebook 2 from Samsung showing up on Google Play Store. You want to mention that real quick?
Yeah, so basically Samsung announced their Chromebook 2 about maybe 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, but for some reason, you know, we hadn't seen it on the Google Play Store. Well, I was reading through my G Plus stream today, and I saw someone posted a picture of it. They saw it on the Google Play Store, specifically the Chrome section of the Google Play Store. And there's an Amazon link to buy it as well. But that's kind of cool. So as of right now, you can get the 11.6-inch version of Samsung's Chromebook for like $300+, maybe $329 on Amazon. It'll ship in 2 days. It's according to Amazon, it's in stock. It may require an extra 1 to 2 days to process, but it comes in black, it comes in white. It's got an Exynos 5 octa-core, CPU at 1.9 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, and it's got the 11.6-inch screen. So this is interesting. The cool thing about this particular version of the Chromebook is it's fanless and it's really light. So if you want something that's pretty portable, light, this would be a Chromebook to consider. So,
which Chromebook do you have? Sorry.
I have the 720, no, the 710, the Acer 710. So this is the one that I've got, and I still use it basically when I'm kicking back in bed. I browse the web with that. So, but if you don't have a Chromebook or you're interested in getting one, this would be something to try.
You mentioned it being fanless, and because I have that same one that you have, and bro, I don't know about you, but mine gets freaking hot after a while sitting on my lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have I don't know what you call it, a little tray that I put it on whenever I'm using it at the edge of the bed. I'll like watch TV and be typing away while that's going on. So, but I don't personally put it on my lap. The advantage of this is these do not get that hot. So this would be a true laptop because you could fit it on your lap without your pants catching on fire or whatever. So
it's I'm curious to see how that thing performs. Personally, I think it's overkill with the octa-core, but maybe that's why it doesn't need a fan. It's really efficient.
I don't know, though. We were talking about Hangouts becoming a hog, and we need some of this for some of this upcoming web stuff. I want an octa-core for my Hangout machine.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I'm burning up right now because the exhaust on my computer under the desk is starting to heat up.
Yo, Hangouts. Look at it. If you want to cook on your laptop, fire up Hangouts.
Yeah, just to show you guys, I'm doing I hope you can see it, but I'm doing a screen share of my task manager, and all 4 cores basically are taxed by this Hangout. So
Every week.
Speaking, sorry to keep interrupting. Speaking specifically to the processor, since it's an SoC and it's ARM, it's probably not going to be quite as powerful as the Haswell Celeron that's come out, but it'll be a lot more energy efficient and essentially less heat, so it shouldn't be as hot. So that's the advantage of getting this Chromebook. Even though it's an octa-core, it's not like a Core i5 or a Core i7, So that would be the reason to get it. Is it's not really it's not super hot.
Right. Cool. We'll talk more about that on Yachts tomorrow, I'm sure, as about the Beats acquisition rumor of Apple. I know somebody threw that in the doc, but let's save that for Yachts tomorrow evening. We'll do a couple app picks, and Ant, if you got a tip or an app pick or something you want to do when we're done, definitely feel free. Nick, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So the app pick that I've got, let me unlock my phone here. It's actually a widget, and it's what I use on one of my screens. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but basically it's called the Transparent Clock and Weather Widget, and there's multiple widget sizes, but it's a little free app that you can download and put on your phone, your tablet, or whatever, or even your lock screen. So it, kind of like the HTC clock widget, it shows the weather on one side and the time on the other side. It's got multiple skins, multiple fonts, different colors. You can have it to where the background changes based on your current weather. It works with your GPS, so like if you move from location to location, it'll update based on that. And you can also configure it to update. It'll display things like your battery level, system information, things like that. So, and it's got support for a lot of different languages, not just English. So it's free on the Play Store. It's called the Transparent Clock and Weather Widget.
Nice. It looks good. I like it. I got a game. It's by the Cartoon Network, so you know it's good, and it's called Globlins. It works with the play games thing, so if you want to play Globlins with us, definitely. But it's a cool like puzzle type of game where you shrink down and go into brains, and then there's these little Globlins. You gotta tap them to pop them with water, and as they pop, they shoot stuff out. And so if you hit one right, it'll kill all of them. So it's like a puzzle kind of thing. But yeah, it's really fun playing it on the Nexus 10 today a little bit, so you can check it out.
That sounds gross.
Globlins. It's so fun. It's so great. So check it out on the Play Store. And you should definitely plug that photo contest thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Besides that, if you have a pick or anything, if not, it's all
I
good.
wish I had the link for it.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
But yeah, there's a smartphone photography photo going on. I believe it's by a company called LithoShare or something like that. They reached out to a new domain and said, hey, let's get some participation on it. They have a little Facebook page up, and they want you to take shots of whatever you need to focus on reflection. So you submit it there, you get votes, and the winner is going to get a $100 iTunes card. I'm hoping an Android person gets it and wins the $100, but just check it out. If you follow me on Google Plus or Twitter, you'll see that I've shared the link on there because heck, I want the votes.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw. How long does the contest run for? Do you know off the top of your head?
The last submissions have to be in by Thursday.
I mean, for voting.
But for voting, you have until the end of the month.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, we'll throw a link to it in the show notes at taggingtheandroids.com and all of our other shows. I'm sure we'll mention it tomorrow night on Yats. As will you Thursday for Point and Shoot.
That is correct, sir.
Cool. You got an app pick or anything, or is that good?
Nope, no app pick because I haven't installed. I did install a beta from Todd Moore on TM Soft, but I haven't opened it up yet.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that next time then.
Yep.
Right on. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Email show@attackingtheandroids.com. Give Eric all your hate mail for why he wasn't here this evening.
Please do.
Definitely do. Right? We're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, all links to all that stuff are at attacktheandroids.com, so check that out and give us a review. We appreciate that. And we'll, like I said, we'll see you tomorrow night for Yats and Thursday for Point and Shoot. So thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.